guys, so I'm sure you saw the title of this video and it is not clickbait. I resigned from my teaching job. So I'm currently at home like many Americans and many people, not just Americans, across the world. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about what led me to resign. But of course, as soon as I started the video, my neighbor started mowing. Okay, anyway, so I resigned from my teaching job March 13th. I gave a 30 days notice because I had accepted a new job. But before I talk about that, I am just gonna back up and talk about kind of what led me to this decision. So if you watched my classroom setup videos, I was so excited to start the new year, the new school year. I spent weeks setting up my classroom. We had moved to a new school. But there was also a lot of frustration because we were being told things at the last minute. Like I came in one day and someone had taken down the decorations I had put on my door, which was just a banner or like a streamer. And then like I'd hung curtains, and basically I got like a passive aggressive email, me and the other science teachers, from our admin, or maybe it was a school-wide email, I don't even remember, saying, oh, you can't cover your windows, which our classrooms had floor-to-ceiling windows next to the doors. My room only had one window, but some classrooms had three, and it felt like a disregard for the safety of our students to not be able to cover the windows if we needed to. And then, there was just a lot of stuff that they said you can't do. We couldn't have a fridge or a microwave, but they allowed me to put it in my prep room. So it was a lot of stuff happening with that. That was frustrating. And then, in October I got married, which you might not know that, but I got married. I took a few days off, before the wedding, and then I came back. So I got married on Saturday, came back on, I think, Tuesday. I started to have some different things that were causing me to be like stressed and overwhelmed. So I got married. Right before my husband and I got married, I had a friend move in with us. Of course my husband agreed that was fine. And it's my best friend from high school. She sold her house really quicker than she thought, and she was planning to relocate, and then she just didn't get a job as fast as she sold her house. So we were like, hey, you can move in with us. She paid us a little bit of rent. It was fine. But we went from having it be the two of us, my husband and I, to having a third person in the house. We also had her dog, who's a little dog, not a big deal, but it was no longer the two of us. So that was a little stressful. And that lasted until the end of March. So 6 months. So that's one thing outside of work that was really stressful for me. There were some other things that had been ongoing about my job that bothered me. School started at 7:10 in the morning. So I had to leave my house by 6:30, and that meant I had to be up at 5:30, and I am not a morning person. So that was something that was really hard for me. But from November on, I started having some mental health problems. I was really stressed at work, and was stressed at home with having someone else living with us, and it just caused my mental health to suffer. The county that I work for, I did not like a lot of the things that they did. It's a big county, and so there's a lot of kids and therefore a lot of parents, and a lot of what the county does, I felt tiptoed around to please the parents, even though it wasn't the best decision for the students. So for example, we basically made it virtually impossible for students to fail. We lowered the passing grade so that if you had a 60 or above, you passed instead of a 70 or above, how it used to be. And if you failed with a 51 to a 59, you were able to do credit recovery online. So the kids didn't even have to do the entire course. They could only do up to 10 modules. So we really just made it easy for kids to pass. The behavior this year at the new school was outrageous. Basically, this new school had a 2-floor cafeteria. There was a coffee shop in the library, which was on the 3rd floor. And there were all these little pods in the wings where kids could eat. It was like a learning space with a whiteboard and like high tables and armchairs and stuff. And the kids could eat lunch there. And so basically what was happening was kids were everywhere, all over the school. And they were really disrespectful. Like I once said to a student, "You're so loud, I can hear you from down the hall in my classroom." And he was like, "Good, that means your ears are working." And there was nothing I could do about it because the kids always got like a free pass, behavior-wise. The school really, the school and the district did not discipline kids. They didn't make kids responsible. They did not have expectations for the kids. It was a mess. It was a mess. And so the behavior problems, the stress from just the setup of the way the county approached education was not working for me. And so I started looking for jobs in November. So I applied for a job at a local university beginning December, in early December, for an academic advising position that is for students in their first year of this environmental science program. So I applied to that, and it also included teaching 3 sections of this 100 level, like how to be successful in college during your first year kind of class. So I applied for that in December and then did not hear anything. And of course the holidays came up, so I knew I wasn't going to hear anything. They wanted supposedly the position to start at the beginning of January, which once like Christmas came and went and I realized like they were not even looking at the applications yet, I knew that would be a little bit later, which was fine. I wanted to at least stay at my school through February, middle February, because I was coaching cheerleading and I did not want to leave my girls high and dry because I love those girls and I would never want to disappoint them by leaving them and not having someone be able to coach them. And then that would mean more work for the varsity coach, which I am friends with her and have grown really close to her over the last several months. So I didn't want to do that, of course. So February came and I had a phone interview, I think the beginning of February, and it was so short. It was like 11 minutes, but I felt okay about it. And then I had an in-person interview that was like 3 hours long, middle February, I think. And that I felt super good about. So I went, and I was upfront about all this with my PLT because I knew that if I got a job and left during the school year, that I would probably be requiring them to work a little harder because I would get a long-term sub, and like the grading, subs don't do grading, subs don't do lesson plans. So I knew that there was going to be a lot of work on their part, so I wanted to be upfront with them. And they were supportive. They obviously were sad that I was leaving, but supportive, because for a lot of people that I talked to at my school, they said, if I was your age and just coming into teaching and had to be here for 30 more years, I wouldn't do it either. I would leave. So I got a lot of support from my coworkers. So I also, at that point, before I had the in-person interview, told my admin, I have an interview for a job. I feel like it's going to be very good. I just want you to be aware of this because if I take the job, I will be leaving. So there was that. So then, this video is like all over the place, so I'm really sorry, but I didn't write anything down. I'm just kind of talking through everything. And I say a lot. My husband hates that. He gets on me all the time. But in North Carolina, you do not get paid master's pay for teaching unless you started your master's before 2013, because our governor at the time in 2013 got rid of master's pay. So you were only grandfathered in, like if you had started prior to that year. And I didn't. I started my master's in 2016? Yeah, 2016. I think 2016. So I wasn't getting paid for my master's, which pissed me off because I have a master's in fisheries, wildlife, and conservation biology. So like obviously it relates to what I was teaching in environmental science. So I felt like kind of disrespected by that. And then I also just had some issues with some leaders in my school being disrespectful to me. Really just one in particular, and luckily not my direct admin, so that was good. But it was a really hard year. Things went downhill really quickly. I would wake up, there was one day, exactly a week before my interview, and I had first period planning, so I was driving to work. I woke up 5:30. I was so sad, and I didn't know why. I was so sad and tired, and on the way to work I was crying. I was talking to my mom through Bluetooth on my phone, and I got to the stoplight really close to my school. That's like a 5-way intersection, and I heard an ambulance coming, and I couldn't find where the ambulance was coming from so I could make sure I got out of its way, and I had a panic attack over that. I started crying. I've never had a panic attack in my life. So I got to school and let my sub-coordinator know that I was not going to stay. I had to leave. So I made some plans and left, which I felt terrible about, but not so bad that I was going to stay, because all I would have done was cried. So that was like super scary. That was something I had never experienced before, and it was obviously a result of stress in my life and in my job. So the next week I had an interview, and then almost a month went by before I heard anything. So March 13th is when I got the call about getting the job. And earlier that morning I had someone at my school, like I said, a leader, basically talk to me in a tone. She talked to me like I was a student. Like she disrespected me so much, and I was so angry about it that I actually cried going back to my classroom, and I was like, I think I'm just gonna resign today anyway, like because I have to give a 30 days notice, so I'm not gonna stay here and be treated like this. And then like an hour and a half later I got the call about the job. So I had already had my resignation letter typed, and I gave it to them, and like that was it. Well, that was a Friday, and then Saturday schools closed for the coronavirus, and I just waited, to see what was going to happen. The response that my county had to coronavirus and e-learning shows me that I made the right decision to leave, because they could look at all these other districts. There are other districts in other states that are large and manage to get a plan together that served their students. And my county, we started e-learning this week, and kids still don't have access to laptops. So anyway, my boss emailed me and said, hey, we're going to put together like a plan for you to work from home, and we're going to list everything you can be doing so that the university sees we have work you can do at home, and like we're not just hiring you to pay you to sit there, which was fine because I want to work. And I signed that and got that sent back and all that stuff. And I just waited. And today I finally got the email saying that like I've been hired, and today was my start day, and everything is like we're going. So that has been a huge weight off of my shoulder. So that being said, I am still going to try to do my YouTube channel, but it won't be from a high school teacher perspective anymore. It will be from the perspective of someone who is working with undergrad students, particularly first-year students, teaching them and also advising them. So if that's something that you might be interested in, I would love to have you stick around. I still want to build this channel up, but I know a lot of you followed me because I taught high school and I taught high school science. So if you don't want to stick around, like I understand that. I've gotten some new subscribers over the last several months, even though I haven't done anything here. So my goal is to actually try to do some vlogs, and also I would really like to do some like family vlogs. It's just me and my husband right now, and we're not having kids soon, but you know, we do some fun stuff, so it could be fun. Anyways, this was super long. It was not supposed to be this long, but that's what happens when I just kind of fly by the seat of my pants. For those of you who have been supportive, I've had several people comment and say, hey, I hope your year went really well. Thank you so much. That really means a lot. Unfortunately, it didn't go really well, but I think everything is gonna be better from here. So thank you for watching. Thank you for those of you who subscribed. I hope that you'll stick around and see what comes next. And I hope that, most importantly, I hope that you're all safe, you're all healthy, and I hope that, you know, this hasn't had too big of a negative effect on you and your family. I know it's been crazy, but you guys be careful, and hopefully I will see you soon.